Welcome back to the Coliseum of Fantasy Knowledge. This is the IDP Fantasy Empire. Sorry, PK just sent us stuff in the group chat because Monday Night Football is over, so we should know who's going on in the championship. Probably not going to be my team because I don't have a defense.
In our dynasty, it's going to be PK and myself. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Paul did best me in an ESPN league.
That is true. I did win.
2 Kansas boys playing against a bunch of Texas boys. You know they know football down there.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, super excited. I'm hoping I at least want to win 2 championships. So I still have a shot for 2. Because my family league, I should have won. Oh, shit, I have not checked it. We're going to get some live updates here, folks, just right on the air. Because I know that's what you guys are interested is what we're doing. Because I'm sure that's why you tune in the show. Yeah, 1 by 10. Nice. Let's go to the championship. So I should hopefully, I'm really hoping McCaffrey came through because I want to play my mom in the championship. That's just awesome.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Yep, 3 out of 4. I made it to the championship. I'm ready to take home the money. And if you play for money, shame on you. You should only be playing for pride. That's all I play for. Idiot. No, I play for the money, man.
I had to play Gil. Damn. I had to play my cousin-in-law. Oh, well. It'll be even sweeter beating him with it. It'll make me feel even better about myself. All right, so this week was week 15. We're getting closer to the end of the season, the beginning of the playoffs. Like basically 3 weeks away from the Chiefs losing in the first round, so it is an exciting time in football.
Paul and I have both been talking about our rookie previews coming up in the premium podcast. You can find that on our website or on our podcast. We've got a link there. It takes you directly to Podbeam. You go ahead and you pay, I think it's what, $5 or $6?
I think 5.
And you get it for 12 months from the date that you purchase it. Last year we did every single rookie, quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver, defensive tackle, defensive end, outside linebacker, inside linebacker, cornerback, and safety. And every prospect that was coming in the NFL draft. A lot of people have reached out to us and said that's what they really like. Paul and I both chose to go ahead and close the website for the time being. It's one of those things, we don't have a big enough following yet to fund it. Really, we make all of our money off the premium podcast and the draft kits. Mm-hmm. And the draft kits aren't going to be around until August next season or June at the earliest. So it's one of those things, we may end up picking it up later on.
Yeah, and for all of those who are, constant website goers, it's nothing personal. We're still going to be around. We're not disappearing. It's just with the cost of upkeep of this website, it's going to cost us more than what we have right now because we're trying to put the money we earn this season to going down and doing live scouting. We're still hoping to do that. We'll see. Buck is starting a new job and chapter in his life, so we'll see how that goes. I'm not for sure, but I know I want to go down. I may just go by myself
and
just go down there.
I did look.
Walk around with this microphone all day. It'd be fun. But and also on the rookie scouting stuff, we're actually pretty much ready to scout. Buck and I have both been making templates. Buck is now a little bit ahead of me. For some reason, he did all his in one day. I've been working on mine for months, so just scrap mine. But we're excited for ours.
A lot of things happen in between jobs,
Yeah.
So it looks like the last day for the underclassmen to commit is January 14th. That's great. We'll find out guys like Dwayne Haskins and people like that if they're going to go ahead and come out. January 19th is NFLPA game. This is typically your 5th to 7th round guys. You find a lot of gems, especially when they're playing with guys their same talent.
Yeah, like guys last year. Who was the MVP last year was Troy Pecky in that game? Was that the NFLPA game?
Yep. Another guy that I really liked was Sky Moore coming out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the Shrine game. It's the same day. Again, the Shrine game kind of overshadows the NFLPA game. Mm-hmm. Those are both going to be recapped in our premium podcast. They will not be available for regular podcasts like we put out on these weekly feelers. Mm-hmm. We do that a lot just to get attention for our premium podcast. I hope you guys like those podcasts.
I say in the Shrine game last year, the one dude I remember standing out was Devontae Maddox.
Right.
He was a guy who popped for me on screen. Right now, he's playing really good in Philadelphia.
Right. January 26th is the Senior Bowl. This is one thing that Paul said he wants to go down to Mobile. I don't know if I'll make it because I won't have the leave accrued by that time at my new job.
You may have a relative pass away, though, right?
What's
so you
that?
can just go down there. A relative from Alabama.
Oh, no. I don't play that game, man. February 26th, we've got the Combine. We should have a good indication on how we feel about most of these players going into that, and then just doing recaps on how we feel after that. We may have a brief recap that's free, not necessarily in-depth like we would go on the premium podcast. March 5th is going to be the franchise tag deadline. March 13th is free agent signing period. I believe that's the last date.
Yeah, I think so.
And then April 25th is the NFL draft, and it starts a brand new season for us. That's when we start over our counting of our podcast. I think we're currently at, 31 this year?
I think so, yeah.
Pretty much one at least a week.
Where's the draft at this year? Do you remember?
It's in Nashville.
Say, because then the year after that, it's in Las Vegas. I think is what they announced, right?
Yep. I may have a family member in Tennessee that passed away. Who knows?
I really wanted to go to the one in Dallas. I really wish I'd have gone. Because that was one of the closer ones until Kansas City
You had free tickets,
one.
Didn't you?
Yeah, but they were like third day.
That's fine.
I don't know, but I want to go for the first rounders, man. That's what I want. I'll go first night when everyone's getting drunk on a Thursday. That's the most fun days. But I'm super excited about everything going on. I mean, I love scouting. Scouting's one of my favorite times of year.
It is the best time of the year.
I've already started on mine. Like I've already dug into film. Like there's one guy that I was reading. I read a little news blip about him. I was like, well, looks like I'm watching film now. So I just went through and watched like 4 or 5 videos, and I was like, I like this guy. You know, I was like initial reactions. I like to do them randomly in the beginning before we just sit down and do them all.
Right on. Another thing we should consider going through the podcast this week are dynasty stashes per team. That's something to go forward. Guys that we may think are being neglected and may have big seasons next year. We'll also mention the guys that we're interested in going forward. For those of you playing Week 17, talk to your commissioner. They should not be doing that.
It's ridiculous.
It is. ESPN, they do the whole 2-week playoffs.
And I hate it. I hate it, but I did it. I'm the commissioner. I didn't change it, so that's on me.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did because I built up a huge lead last week. I built up a huge lead last week on my cousin, and I had a horrible week this week, but still enough to pull it off. So sometimes all that matters.
So, again, these podcasts, we're right at the end of the season. We should know the behavior of these players and how they should perform week to week. So it's going to be kind of brief as we go through these games, as we kind of mentioned going forward. We will do the playoffs. We'll watch those games, analyze them. Luckily, there's a lot less of them, and it makes film a lot faster.
Yeah, for sure. Starting out with a little news and notes. Ronnie Harrison, D-back for the Jaguars, was placed on IR. That was right after they released Barry Church, so it's a little tough. But again, the Jags are probably out of it anyway. So let's just look forward to Ronnie Harrison's role next year. That's a guy who I'm looking forward to see come into. Hopefully, his second year is really his year because he had to play split basically this year.
Yep. Same.
Let's see. Eddie Jackson did hurt his ankle, but not believed to be season ending for the Bears. I hope he did. I hope it is season ending. Screw the Bears. I'm done with the Bears. You have Jordan Hicks, and he's expected to resume practicing this week. So once again, Paul's picks on Jordan Hicks getting injured was correct. Logan Ryan will miss the rest of the season with a broken fibula. Why is everyone breaking their leg?
No idea.
This is like, what, the 6th player to break their leg in the last month? Like, are they all not drinking milk? Like, what's the deal?
Some milk.
Yeah, like, what the hell is the issue here? Let's see. Garyon Conley was diagnosed with a concussion, did not return for the Week 15 game. I actually had that in my notes, but I feel I'll just cover it now. Kenny Vaccaro went out of the Titans game with a concussion, did not return. He'll be day-to-day this week. Other than that, I think that's about it for the major defensive news. All right, I'll start in with my game. The first one I had was a Saturday game. I hope you all tuned in for the Saturdays. I got to at least watch the Jets and Texans. That was a pretty interesting game. I did like that. First, it was at the Meadowlands, so I'll start with the Jets first. You had Johnson going 5 for 5, Anderson 4 for 3, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. My defensive line MVP this week. Love this guy, man. He was playing really, really well in his spots. Adams went 4 for 3, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Claiborne had really tight coverage early on Hopkins. They were playing Hopkins one-on-one for quite a bit of it. The announcers seemed to be going on about it, but I was like, well, I understand because Claiborne's been shutting down guys on the outside. But you're not going to shut down Hopkins forever. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they didn't because it helped me get a win. So I'm not complaining too much. Watson breaks the D with a 45-yard bomb to said Hopkins. And it was actually on the same play that Adams blitzed, so you take away that safety, and Roberts wasn't going back there in coverage, and he's just not as good in coverage yet as Adams is. So they did pay the price. Anderson gets a standing sack, as in the quarterback was still on his feet. I think they blew the whistle a tad soon, but at the same time as the NFL, they're going to blow the whistle soon to save quarterbacks. Johnson misses a one-on-one tackle on a curl route. I actually saw a lot of the curl routes this week and guys over pursuing. More than I've seen the last 3 or 4. Anderson sheds the left guard off for his second sack of the game. Adam gets home on a blitz for the 6th sack of the day. Hopkins owns Claiborne on a 50-50 ball for a touchdown. So Hopkins ends up finishing, I think, with 170 and 2 tutties. I think that's what he finished up with. The Jets' next game will be against the Packers at home. With the Packers coming in, I don't even know. I think Rodgers will start, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't finish the game because we're out of playoffs, so who cares? Don't care.
Right.
So defensively, that means honestly it could really be anyone. I'd probably go with a middle linebacker if you can snag one. If you're in the last week, and if you can snag one, like maybe a Lee or Williamson, because those guys may get more points. Just because I think Green Bay is going to be running a lot more. For the Texans, you had Joseph going 9 for 7, 1 pass defense. McKinney 9 for 3, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass defense. And Cunningham 7 for 2. So as I can tell, the Jets like to score their teams a little bit more solos than they do with the opposing teams. Joseph had a good one-on-one tackle on the outside. I like when the cornerbacks can shut down their guy. Watt with a forced fumble on a reach back. And what I mean by reach back is he was kind of past the runner, but he just happened to swing that big old massive left arm and boom, mic'd him right in there. Joseph is playing really good, and he was wearing blue suede shoes. Really bright baby blue shoes.
Nice.
I don't know if this was a cornerback deal this week. I don't know if you saw it, but I had a lot of cornerbacks wearing bright-ass shoes this week.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know if that was a thing or
cleat thing. I thought that was just one game.
I don't know. Because I even saw the kicker for the Saints when he was down a little while ago that he had some custom cleats on. So I don't know. Maybe I missed the memo on the cleat day. McKinney reads a run play and then just straight attacks it. Clowney with an early tackle for loss. The very next play, Watt gets a sack. Reeder is seemingly everywhere early on. Reeder is the defensive tackle, nose tackles. He kind of operates in between those lines. He seemed to be everywhere. He was making effort plays all over the place, and I love seeing that from big guys. Cream gives the Watumbo finger after a pass breakup. I am a huge fan of the Watumbo finger. I try to give someone the Watumbo every day if I can. It's one of my specialties. J.J. Watt gets a late clutch sack in the fourth quarter, and then Clowney gets a near punch-out also in the fourth quarter. For the Texans, their next game is going to be at the Eagles. Their defensive line, I feel like, is really clicking now. I feel like J.J. Watt and Clowney are really feeding off each other, and that kind of opens up the linebackers to play a little bit freer. I felt like McKinney was able to kind of soar around. I wish he would have had more solos and maybe, an interception for a touchdown and stuff like that to help me in the playoffs, but I think McKinney and Cunningham are going to really get a big boost because of JJ and Clowney playing so well on the ends. And that just opens up play for everyone, especially with the Eagles who have Nick Foles who likes to do the dumps. And we're seeing how good Darren Sproles played yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if they're dumping off to him quite a bit.
He's had 2 good weeks, past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, that's good for his final season, man. Father Time.
Think they make it in the playoffs?
Who?
The Eagles.
Eagles? I don't think so, but I've seen crazier things in the NFL.
That's all you got?
Yep, that's all I got.
All right, I've got the Browns versus the Broncos. For the Browns, Schobert goes 4-7. Again, that's 4 solo, 7 total. Peppers goes 6 of 6 with a sack, pass breakup, and an interception. Collins goes 6 of 6 with a sack. Mitchell goes 6 of 6 with 2 pass breakups. Carey also gets an interception. Schobert's is out in the flats on both sides. It looks like he's back to form. You love seeing this, especially with Christian Kirksey out. For me, Christian Kirksey's that buy low. There may be that league mate that's kind of soured on him because he wasn't there for the championship for him. Sometimes you can buy those guys at a discount. I always go high risk, high reward, especially for those guys that do get hurt. I will pay a premium to try and snag them away from another owner. Collins dropped another sure pick. This is the second time I've seen this season in the past 3 weeks. And I thought he did a really good job of keeping Lindsey in check this game. He was really the one that made sure this happened. Mitchell also dropped a pick as well. Buddy Calhoun had a huge first down saving tackle. This is late in the game. Kind of prepared them for the final series. Jabril Peppers ends the game with a walk-off sack in the B-hole. Next week, the Browns are versus the Bengals, and I think Mitchell had a decent stat line, but Randall is typically the guy that carries the team. So I wouldn't go too crazy about picking up Mitchell. It's honestly going to be these D-backs that are going to score you most of these points, and the linebackers are already owned. For the Broncos, Simmons goes 4 of 7. Gotsis goes 5 of 6 with a sack and a pass breakup. Roby goes 4 of 5 with a pass breakup. Parks goes 3 of 4 with a pass breakup. Miller gets a sack and Thomas gets a pick. Gotsis got a strip sack. You love seeing that, especially from a big guy. It gives you those extra points with that fumble. I thought Parks was continuously picked on. He appeared like he was everywhere this game, and he was really flashing off the tape. I think he's worth a stash in deep leagues, especially with the safety position. We've talked about Sua Cravens and others playing next to Justin Simmons. Really, who's going to be that nickel corner, nickel D-back to really help this team, and who's going to be that other safety for the Broncos going forward. I thought there was a good close on the wide receiver by Roby. You like seeing that? I think Roby's trash. I will never own him in any league, a large league or a small league. Marshall had limited snaps. Again, he's spelling Jewel. Jewel was the one who started the game. Brandon Marshall has been injured most of the season. He is another buy low candidate going forward. One of those guys that we expected to have a way better season and did not expect his injury to linger. Chubb had a sack, but it was called back. It's one of those things. Hey, if things would have been a little bit different, he could have had a better game. Wolf, Gotsis, and Chubb are both crushing the pocket, and Vaughn occasionally dropped into coverage to help out. You like seeing this, especially with the ability of Von Miller to drop back into coverage. It allows these guys to get after the quarterback, especially when you're only sending 3. Zach Kerr is having a decent game too. He's always hustling his massive body around. This guy's got to be pushing like 320, and it doesn't look like he has much muscle. He's just a toad, man. You love seeing it, especially when those guys get outside, chasing down those running backs. I love that. Tremaine Brock is playing soft cornerback. He's in for Isaac Yiadom and Chris Harris, who are both injured for the season. Next week they're at the Raiders, and I think Parks is going to have a great game. He's going to get picked on by Derek Carr, and I think Carr is going to regret it.
All right, my next game up was the Bucks at the Ravens. Some pretty good stuff. We had Mosley going 8 for 6 and a half sack. Weddle going 6 for 3. Jameis Smith going 4 for 3. Sack early on by Mosley. Ravens missed the counter and allow a score. They just basically guessed the wrong direction. Carr with a over-the-back pass breakup. Missed blitz and scramble leads to a field-flipping 70-yard play from the Bucks. A muff punt put the Ravens right back on the field, the defense, and you could tell they were tired before they gave up that touchdown. They were just out there. And with this defense, I've kind of learned if you can run around them and kind of just tire them out and keep them out on a couple long drives, it does affect them. I mean, they have some young guys, but a lot of their key players are a little bit older. So I feel like going forward, that's what I should see more of. A low throw gets Humphries a pick. It was just a bad pass by Cam Newton. I'm just kidding. That's Jameis Winston. I'm just kidding. Williams blows up the line for a tackle for loss. That was probably one of the best individual plays I saw this whole game. Is Williams came out of nowhere. I was like, who the hell is this? And I was like, Williams just came out of nowhere and got that sack or tackle for loss. He blew up the center. It was nuts. The Ravens really allowed Barber to run a little bit more in the second half than I would have guessed. But I did think that Mosley played a really good game. This was one of his classic games for me, and this was a guy who I've always liked watching, and he just does what he does. I felt like Terrell Suggs didn't have that good a game. I felt like there were a couple plays he missed on. One of the touchdowns for sure, there was some miscommunication. Because as soon as the touchdown happened, him and I believe... who's the white defensive lineman?
4.
Was it that who it was?
What team?
Ravens.
Kafusi? No.
I want to say Unger, but God, I know that's wrong.
No, you're talking about the dude, Glasgow?
Maybe that's who it was, Glasgow. Yeah, it was Glasgow. Both him and Suggs were looking at each other going, what the hell just happened? So, I think they just had some bad communication. But the Ravens do get the win, continue to play out. They're going to be at the Chargers. This could be a good game for them. And specifically because we don't know if Melvin Gordon or Eric Decker's going to play. Eric Decker. Good God, Paul.
Easy, Stephen A.
Jesus. But, hey, there actually was a report that Hunter Henry may come back for the playoffs.
I saw that.
So there's a chance that someone signs Derek Johnson, and then Stephen A. Smith is right in the future. What if the Chiefs sign him, and then it comes to fruition? That would be amazing. Top 5 for me. But in case you guys don't know what we're talking about, Stephen A. Smith on his First Take show, they're talking about the Chiefs and Chargers matchup from Thursday. And Stephen A. was talking about how he's like, I think the matchup's going to come down to Spencer Ware. And then Max Geller kind of stops him and is like, no, he's out. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. And then he's like, one of the matchups for me is going to be Derrick Henry and the way he's been playing all year, him matching up against Derek Johnson. In case you don't know, Hunter Henry hasn't played a snap all season, and Derek Johnson's a free agent. Mm-hmm. I lost it when I saw that. Like, I had already read it on Twitter, and then you sent it to me. I think someone else sent it to me. I was like, dude, this is too much. I can't handle this today. Because the look on Teddy Bruschi and Max's face when he starts talking, where they were just both like, is this a prank? Like, what is happening right now? I wish someone would have called him out on that, but like, dude, your take was just garbage, right?
Yeah, they were all kind of giving him that look like, what?
I hope he watched that and was like, yeah, I should just stick to basketball.
No, he actually posted something funny on Twitter.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he made fun of himself.
I would too. It was like when Skip Bayless was saying he was a great basketball player, and then they fact-checked his ass and found out he was like a JV player who like never ever played. That was one of my favorite moments in sports. All right, back to my other game. It was the Bucks. They were decent, man. Linebacker play I actually saw a lot of. You had David going 12 for 10, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss. Should have had a pick. He dropped it. You had Vita Vea going 9 for 6. Vita Vea going 9 for 6, man.
Yeah.
Like seeing that. And then you had Bullock going 8 for 4, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass defense. Again, David dropped an early pick early on in this game. Kind of hit him in the breadbasket. Him and Bullock just kind of look at each other afterwards like, damn it, we should have had that ball.
I saw that.
The Bucks are allowing a bunch of yards in the first quarter. I wasn't surprised by it. I mean, it was mostly through the ground, and that's what the Ravens do. They're a ground team now. There's a lucky play with a dropped handoff. Just one of those, it was wet. It was raining in Baltimore. Ball slipped out of their hands, or ball slipped out of the handoff from Lamar Jackson, and David recovered it. There was a really good play that was a near pick by Evans, and I felt like he was hitting hard the entire game. I really like seeing his play, man. I feel like he's one of those guys that some games you may not see him as much, and some days he just blows up at you, So I do like seeing it.
Happens.
The Ravens are really playing the dump off, pass, and run. That's just what they should be doing. And honestly, someone needs to talk to their tight end coach, because the fact that some of these guys are missing wide open dump offs and not catching them is freaking irritating. Max Williams was missing them. I think the only one who caught all of his passes was Hayden Hurst. Everyone else at least had a couple drops.
Max Williams, didn't he have a touchdown?
Maybe later on.
That may have been last week.
I think that was last week. But he dropped a couple balls, and then the other one, Andrews, he dropped a couple balls. So they just need to catch those. They turn those into positive yards. You're not going to get a lot, but you're going to get some. That was a lot of it. That's why the Bucs were closer in this game than it probably should have been. Jackson started getting loose in the second half. He started running a little bit more, kind of feeling his own run patterns. He even made JPP miss on a scramble. He just came up a couple fingers short of grabbing him. Nassib with 2 sacks almost in a row, and the reason I write that, he had a sack. The next play was a penalty, and then the next play he got a sack. So for me, it was like pretty much 2 plays in a row where he got a sack. Nassib has also really been coming on late. This is the second week in a row I've watched the Bucs, and Nassib has just popped up in my head of guys who I was watching, who I kind of honed in on after a while. Their next game is going to be at the Cowboys. Look for the Cowboys to try to get some semblance of running game back, but the Bucs are also some of the league's lowest in run defense, so look for Zeke to probably eat in that one.
All right, I've got the Lions versus the Bills. For the Lions, Davis goes 6 of 9. Jones goes 5 of 9. Harrison goes 5 of 6. Aquara goes 4 of 5. So you're seeing a lot of linebackers and a lot of defensive line against the Bills. It's because the Bills' offensive line sucks.
Yep.
Keenard ends up getting a sack, and there were no interceptions. Every play, it seems like a rugby scrum. Diggs, Quinn, and Davis are in on damn near every play. Keenard looks decent this game. Slay is playing shutdown corner like we always see from Slay. Nothing new. Davis is spinning people to the ground. Jared Davis, one of those, I don't know, he's a decently sized linebacker. I don't know why he's doing this. We really didn't see this in college. Mm-hmm. But you'd like to see a player like that square up and take the guy down without giving him extra yards. So if you have a running back, you may get a couple extra yards each play. For the Bills, they don't have any running backs, so that was an issue. Adolphus Washington causes a forced fumble on a Josh Allen. As he reaches for the first down, he just swats his hand. I thought that was a beautiful play, especially from one of those interior defensive linemen. You love seeing them just reach out and try and make that extra play whenever they're given the opportunity. I thought he had a great game coming down the line whenever he was unblocked, and he would blow up plays. Next week, the Lions are versus the Vikings. I expect Glover Quinn to have a big game next week. Really no guy here that I'm picking up for years to come other than Jared Davis. Keenard maybe is a buy low, but I don't expect him to be a high splash guy. Christian Jones may get replaced in the offseason. He's good for tackles, but he's not necessarily a good linebacker. For the Bills, you have Poyer going 10 of 11, Edmonds going 5 of 8, Alexander going 5 of 6 with a pass breakup, White going 5 of 6, and there were no sacks, no interceptions for the Bills. Levi Wallace had a pick, but Galladay mossed him. I don't know if you saw that play, but Galladay just reached over him and he grabbed the ball from him. Tre'Davious White gave up a pass to Galladay with a lot of space and coverage. Really something we're not used to seeing with Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White has been a great corner ever since he entered the league coming out of LSU. Corey Thompson is in for Matt Milano, who is out for the season. Shaq Lawson almost got a pick six, but he dropped it. He was right in the quarterback's face. We're really seeing Matt Stafford get rattled a lot lately. This is my first game watching the Bills this in-depth, or the Lions this in-depth. But as I watched Red Zone, I've seen him make some poor plays. I think it's one of those things with Golden Tate being gone and lesser wide receivers just leaving Kenny Galladay. It's making him force the ball to Kenny Galladay. Alexander is being asked to play a lot more weak side linebacker this game. He typically plays strong side. What I mean by this is they will drop him back into the middle of the field and they'll send another edge guy, kind of keeping him in the nickel. Whereas you would expect Corey Thompson to be there, but because of his inability and his lack of experience, they're kind of kicking him out. I don't expect them to make a change, even though next week they're playing at the Patriots. I would expect Corey Thompson to be that play, but because Edmonds is going to be asked to cover Gronk, I think they keep Alexander inside, and he should make a lot of tackles.
All right, my next game was the Raiders at the Bengals. You have Prison Stripes versus Bengal Stripes. I didn't know how else to match that one up. But honestly, aesthetically pleasing to watch. I can't lie. For the Bengals, I have really short notes on them. Denard goes 8 for 7, 1 pass defense. Atkins goes 6 for 5, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. He had a monster game. Vigil went 5 for 5. Williams drops a potential pick 6. I think he would have scored if he had caught it. Hubbard, your boy, goes with a strip sack. Dunlap recovers. Denard strips the Bengals running back and strips the Oakland running back, and the Bengals recover. Carr goes down Mahomes style. What I mean by Mahomes style is there wasn't really anyone around him, but he knew he was going to eat a sack, so he just went down. And it's so funny. Dude, Hackins and Hubbard look at each other, and they're both like, before they touch the quarterback, they're like, you, me, you, me, you. Like, who wants to get the sack? All right, fine, I'll touch him. Because they just both stood there and looked at each other even after it happened. It was so funny. I started going, dun, 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 because it just cracked my ass up, man. Williams with great coverage over the middle. This guy's a missile whenever he wants to be. And I really like watching Hubbard this week, and it really makes me sad for Jordan Willis. I mean, I still love Jordan Willis, but I don't know what role he has anymore. And freaking wasted a spot, you know. And it sucks because I think he has a lot of talent. I just think he needs to go somewhere else at this point, which, you know, he's only 2 years into a rookie contract.
We've seen flashes.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think with this line he's going to get that shot now. Now with Hubbard coming up and being able to play that well.
There's talks of them moving Michael Johnson into D-tackle.
Yeah, I thought they were going to, like, they cut Michael Johnson. I thought he was going to be done. I was excited for Willis because he'd get bumped into the rotation. They screwed me out of that deal, too. All right, their next game is going to be at the Browns, the battle for Cleveland, even though nobody wants it. For the Bengals, I'm going to probably go with more linebacker play. I would expect Vigil to have a good game because I'm out of the playoffs.
One thing that I want to note is Marvin Jones, he does not like playing the
rookies.
Jones? Yeah, he doesn't like playing rookies. How does that change if he does get fired? What do you expect to happen with Marvin Jones?
I don't know. I thought they were going to fire him last time to give him a damn contract extension.
He must have some good blackmail.
I guess, man. He must know something about somebody somewhere. I mean, if he gets fired, which I think he should, I mean, he's not won in the playoffs either, you know, even when they were good. I mean, at least he can say, well, we didn't have Andy Dalton, and A.J. Green's been hurt all year. But, I mean, he still had a receiver go over 1,000 yards. So, I don't know, man. If that changes it, you know, rookie play may be back and...
What about the linebackers? Do you think Malik Jefferson gets a nod?
I think so. I think honestly, if a new coach comes in, Vontaze may be done with the Bengals. And I think it's probably honestly about time, to be fair, in my own opinion. It's not like he can't still be a good player, but he's a role player now. I feel like he's officially gotten to that level where he's roles. I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We'll see. I don't even know who would want to coach the Bengals. I don't know. That's interesting, man. I'm going to have to make a little segment about that. For the Raiders, you had Joseph going 8 for 6, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Lee going 6 for 4, 1 tackle for loss. And Kabinda, I didn't know how to say his name, 5 for 5. Harris with the first pick of his career after the offense had turned it down over, or just the play before. Hurst with a one-on-one tackle on a screen. Hurst blowing up a screen, man. Loved it. Arden Key had really good effort plays. He made at least 3 in the first half that I saw that I really liked. He did get a flag, but I thought it was kind of a here or there flag, in my opinion, but still got flagged nonetheless. Hankins gets a tackle for loss. Seen a lot of big man swag from this defensive line. And I said before we went on air, I love watching the Raiders' defensive line. I think they have one of the better ones. Like, I feel a little bit better about their defensive line than I did about San Francisco last year and how much I liked them this year, even though their team as a whole was bad. Hall taking down Mixon in the flats. Again, another defensive lineman tackle, man. I guess literally all my notes are about the defensive line, to be completely honest. But Joseph did have a delayed sack, so he used the defensive line to his advantage. But I really do like this, man. I think, honestly, the Raiders had a great draft of defensive linemen. They stole Hurst, and then they got Arden Key, who's another guy who had first-round potential that went down to the second round because of a knee. You know, Hurst...
Third round.
Hurst should have been a first-round pick.
And then they got P.J. Hall, you know.
Yeah, P.J. Hall's good, too. I even put him down. Yeah, he had a tackle out in the flats.
Do you think he's the second-round worthy? They could have easily got him in the 5th.
I don't think they would have got him in the 5th.
Bro, he was not even on
the defensive tackles, though, were not that high. But he's worth it, man. He's making plays. Like, it's not like he's going to blow up because he's a D tackle, so you're not going to expect that much. You know, it's going to be a minimal, but I like the way he was playing. I had no issues with it. And it's kind of cool that they can rotate all these big guys in. So I really enjoy it. I think, honestly, adding Hankins really boosted their defensive line as a total unit. Because I feel like that veteran presence really helps them all work together. So I liked it. Their next game is going to be versus the Broncos. Look for a lot of runs. I would expect, again, the D-line to eat more. Especially with some secondary going down again. And Case Keenum really can't throw to save his damn life. So that's it.
All right, I've got the Cardinals versus the Falcons. For the Cardinals, Boston goes 6 of 7 with 2 pass breakups. Bethea goes 4 of 5. Reddick goes 4 of 4 with the sack and a pass breakup. Baker goes 4 of 4. Golden ends up getting a sack, and there were no interceptions for the Cardinals. This defense gave up so many rushing yards. I don't know if you saw the highlights, but Tevin Coleman blew up this team. There were a lot of long runs that were even called back. You saw those?
I saw the highlights from him, but I didn't see a lot of the game, to be honest.
Buchanan did get some playing time this week. Looked like Hodges and him got split. Gunter is blowing up plays frequently in the backfield. Trey Boston almost got a pick 6. He dropped it, but they is not finishing tackles. Next week, the Cardinals are versus the Rams. I would start the D-backs, but nobody in particular. Maybe Baker if I needed him. That's about it. For the Falcons, Grady Jarrett goes 4-7 and leads the team. He gets 2 sacks as well.
Damn.
Poole goes 5-6 with a sack, a pass breakup, and an interception. Niesman goes 5-6. Casey goes 4-6. Irvin gets 1.5 sacks. Beasley gets a sack. Means gets a sack. Campbell gets a half sack. And Deion Jones gets a pick 6. This was literally a Poole party. In the first half, Poole recovered a Grady Jarrett strip sack. He got a sack of his own, and then he finished multiple tackles violently. Beasley tips the ball into the air, and Jones swoops underneath it for a 35-yard pick 6. Campbell almost got a pick on a tight end bobble as it went to the ground. Trufant makes a good play as a bobbling running back gets closed on, and he punches it out. Beasley is frequently in the face of the quarterback. This is something we haven't seen in a while. It's kind of nice to see complementary pieces like Irvin and Grady Jarrett who are stepping up and getting in the face of the quarterback. Those ancillary pieces that are helping Beasley out. Steven Means is showing flashes. I thought he had a really good game. Not a lot of tackles, but he had 2 tackles for loss in the backfield. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Grady Jarrett, though. He is shredding offensive linemen and picking the side that the running back runs to. This is something that I haven't seen a lot. Jarrett, he looks phenomenal, man. He's literally just grabbing the shoulder pads of the offensive lineman, and then he sees the run developing, and then he shucks the dude.
Nice.
Where the hell was Tack?
Really? You didn't have a good game?
I did not.
Damn it.
At all. I'm kind of wondering what's going on with him, but maybe an injury or something. I haven't been following him.
I don't know. He was doing good the last 2 times I've watched him. He had good games.
I think this is the first Falcons game we've had in a while. Next week, they're at the Panthers. I think Poole playing in the nickel is paying off. I continue to use him where available. But I wouldn't. He's a big risk, the guy that's not typically one of those guys that's at the top every single week.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're up.
Oh, I'm up again. Dang, that's fast. All right, my other game. Sorry, I mean Hershey's Kisses, man. These s'mores ones are these hot cocoa are the best. I had the Dolphins at the Vikings. For the Vikings, you had Barr going 7 for 5, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Kendrick 6 for 3, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass defense. And Hunter going 5 for 4, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. All right, early on you had Barr with a sack. And I was watching this game live on TV, and I did put down early on that it seems like a linebacker tackling game early on to me. And that's how it finished out. The middle 2 guys finished out at the top. Alexander with a pass breakup. Still seeing really good play from him. Makes me nervous for Mike Hughes' role next year. Vikings could have one of the best secondaries in the league next year. With the young guys they drafted, man, they got some damn good young guys. And they'll be getting some dudes back, so it could be pretty scary. The first play after halftime, Ballage splits Kendrick and Alexander, and he gone. Did you see that play? You were probably watching Red Zone, so you probably did.
I don't believe I did.
When Ballage just took off.
Oh, yeah.
Split them 2 and was.
What do I want to tell you about that dude, man? I think he's a guy that you want to trade for in every single dynasty league.
But what are they going to do with Kenyon Drake?
What do you mean? It's going to be a 2-headed backfield, just like Gore and Drake. And
so I think they move on from Frank Gore because he's injured?
When I think of Ballage, I think of Kareem Hunt. Those are my player comparisons. I'm dead serious, bro.
So he's going to get blackballed out the league?
No, play style. Just the way they have that contact balance. He does not go down, man.
I like Ballage too. I liked him in our rookie scouting. He was a guy who I enjoyed watching as well. So yeah, just crazy. He just kind of came in, did his thing. Again, that was really about all the offense you saw from the Dolphins. All right, so later on, Hunter gets his 13th sack in the third. I think he's at 13 and a half now. We look at Hunter. Looking at Hunter's game as a total, he ended up just kind of eating late. It was a game where he was able to do what he wanted. Everything else was working fine, so he was able to play a little more free. There were 9 total sacks for the Vikings today. Dolphins, your offensive line sucks. But you guys probably knew that already. Y'all just can't get first-rounders to stick, man. Alexander with a blitz off the edge, which is successful. Very nice play. Hunter notches 2 sacks by straight out working the offensive line each time. Goes to show you who still has a bad offensive line. Man, I even wrote that in here twice. I am ruthless. Their next game is going to be at the Lions. I don't care about this game because I hate both teams. But the Lions are probably going to rely on the running game because I don't think they want to hurt Matthew Stafford. For the Dolphins, Fitzpatrick finally leads the Dolphins in tackles and leading in everything. He went 6 for 6. 2 pass defenses. 1 interception. 1 touchdown. Got a tutty. First tutty of his career. McMillan goes 6 for 3, 1 pass defense. McCain went 5 for 5. That Fitzpatrick pick 6 was actually the first score of the Dolphins that day.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, it was real nice. Quite enjoyable. The Dolphins were allowing a lot of rush yards early on. I feel like the Vikings, after they fired their offense coordinator, were like, you know what we should do? Go back to running the football. And they did. And it worked out really damn well for them. Run it at home, man. That's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do. Barker looks really good today. Nothing but overpowering, but good. So, I mean, he was above average to me, just watching him, because Baker's a guy who I've been kind of watching on and off all year. Only 2 sacks for the Dolphins all game. And I kept saying through the second half of this game, let Fitzpatrick go on freaking blitzes. They could use him like Derwin James. I wonder if they don't even watch Chargers film and say, hey, you know what? Derwin James playing pretty damn good playing in this knife, like Swiss Army knife role where we can play him everywhere. Why don't we do the same with Fitzpatrick? I don't understand why they don't blitz him more. Because they could do it with their defense. They have 2 good defensive ends, and their interior is not that bad. They could run blitz packages for Fitzpatrick specifically, and I think it would be successful. That's something that I'm going to hark on now for a while until they figure out that scheme or start doing it on a more consistent basis. I mean, look at what Jamal Adams does. He does the same thing. But maybe it's just because Fitzpatrick's not number 33. You think that's why they do it?
Maybe.
Because Adams and James are 33, and they blitz all the time. Answer me that. Riddle me that, NFL. Batman. Called it. All right, and their next game is going to be at home versus the Jags. Battle of Miami. Who wants it is really the question. I just hope Fitzpatrick continues. You know, he may be an ad that you could easily get. I don't know if he'll throw up a lot of numbers against the Jags, so I assume we're going to really be running it. But they got a quarterback who's shaky, so maybe you'll get a little extra pointers with some INTs.
All right, I've got the Titans versus the Giants. Thank you for making sure I got Hockey League, Paul.
I did not make sure of that, dude. You saw it. I circled the games. And which game was it?
Titans versus Giants.
I didn't even see highlights from this game, so I have no idea. You have to paint me a pretty picture.
All right, we've got the Titans, and Kendrick Lewis comes in for Vaccaro when Vaccaro gets hurt. He goes 7-9 with pass breakup. Vaccaro got hurt. He came in. Leads the team. Jackson goes 5 of 7. Byer goes 4 of 4 with the sack, 2 pass breakups, and an interceptions. Evans goes 4 of 4. Ryan and Correa both get a sack apiece. It is not uncommon for 2 to 3 people to be on Barkley this game. I thought that's the way you have to play him because they don't necessarily have the weapons with Odell out. Really, they've only got Sterling Shepard, who's the other threat. I'm sure there's another lower level wide receiver that somebody may complain about, but I would do the same if Odell was out, though. I would triple team, double team Barkley. All right, Landry got a strip sack, and Casey got a fumble recovery. Kendrick Lewis, again, came in for Vaccaro. Comes off the bench with 3 straight tackles.
Nice.
It was amazing, man. He was in on a lot of plays this game. He's a guy that I recommend next week versus the Redskins, especially with Josh Johnson. I think he's going to make a mistake, and Lewis may be there to capitalize. Woodyard missed out on a pick 6 because he was so excited for the tackle that he was not even paying attention to the ball coming. Next week, again, there at the Redskins, Kendrick Lewis is my dude. especially if Vaccaro's out for time. For the Giants, Goodson goes 9-9 with the pass breakup. Martin goes 4-9. Ogletree goes 6 of 7. Thomas goes 5 of 7 with a sack. There were no interceptions. And Ogletree got crushed by Marcus Mariota. Did you see that end around?
I did not.
Oh.
I'm going to have to go watch it now.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota was throwing a big block for Hunter Henry. Riley is a heat-seeking missile. Derrick Henry does end up destroying him in the run game. He just trucks right over him, like we expect Derrick Henry to do to everybody on initial contact. Goodson looks heavy to me, honestly. It looks like he's being asked to play some edge earlier on this season, and I'm curious if this is the focus now for him, is to gain some weight and be that edge rush guy. They're really still defining their roles. There's this Tay Davis kid playing inside linebacker. I kind of wondered where Goodson went, but we're seeing him pop back up. Again, Goodson's often injured, but when he's in, he usually plays pretty well. So this Tay Davis dude, you may want to watch out for. I saw him make a couple plays this game. Next week they're at the Colts. B.J. Goodson's back. I don't know really what to take away from this game. We haven't seen it all the whole season, and you're really risking your fantasy season if you try and start B.J. Goodson.
Very good fact. All right, my next game was the Cowboys at the Colts. The shootout in Indianapolis. Even though it kind of looked like they were playing in Dallas, to be fair. Bunch of blue on white in this game. Blue on white on gray. I saw a funny meme. It was about Zeke sitting on the sideline. They're like, when you start doing fast rapping, is when he was talking to himself, and he's just like, and they did like a fast rap on it, and it ended perfectly. I was like, not gonna lie, that was pretty funny. I enjoyed that. For the Colts, who do you think was the leading tackler?
Darius Leonard.
Good guess. He went 11 for 9, 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass defenses. Gathers went 8 for 6. Who do you think the third place was?
Kenny Walker. Or Walker.
No.
Kenny Moore.
No. Cornerback.
What?
Cornerback.
Quincy Wilson.
Nope. Come on, man. This guy I've talked. Pierre Desir.
Oh, Pierre Desir.
Desir. He went 7 for 7, 1 pass defense. Leonard already making plays on the first drive. Not a surprise. Every Colts game, I think I start with freaking saying something about Leonard. Just happens that way. Zeke leaps a defender, and Leonard nails him. I don't know if you saw that play, but it was awesome. Because I thought Zeke had a concussion after that. Like, I really did. Lewis gets his first NFL sack. Another rookie getting sacks on this team. Leonard is trailing Bailey and still gets a pass breakup. He was literally behind Bailey and knocked it down. It's crazy, man. Hunt breaks the line on a 4th and goal stop and gets it. Don't see a lot from Hunt. This is really the first time I've seen him in a lot of Colts games I've watched. Walker is... I love watching Walker, man. That dude is hard on himself when he either misses a play or barely misses a play. Like, even if he makes contact and the guy goes down, he still gets mad that he didn't do it by himself. I love that mentality, man. And he does it every single game. Like, if he misses one thing, he's just like, come on, man, you got to be better. You got to do better. And I love that.
Again, he is one of those guys that during the offseason, we saw so many hype videos. I don't know if you saw them on Twitter, but they were outrageous.
Yeah, he had a lot. Which, I mean, goes to show, you can do about anything. But, man, I love that.
What's your takeaway from, like, seeing all these hype videos? Because we see it often from, like, guys like J.J. Watt. Do you think there's anything to it? Like hey, they're going to have a decent season because they're dedicated or no? Because so many times players get paid and they don't end up showing up.
Yeah. The thing I like about the hype videos, especially when we're talking about recruiting, what I like to do sometimes with these bigger name guys, let's take like Roquan Smith. I watched a lot of him, so I knew quite a bit already. But I would go and watch the hype video and see if it was... I look to see if it's the same game. If he just has one blow-up game and they just cut it into like showing his massive game plus a couple others, or it's all different games. Like if it's a hype video with all different games, that means I know he played well throughout a stint. So and if it is one of those hype videos that has really one game altogether, I'm gonna go and look at the season and look at their stats from all the games, and I'm gonna choose the best one and the worst one and try to find both of them to watch. So the hype videos for me have enough because I'll write down the teams that I see him playing against and blowing up. And that's how I'll dissect hype videos to see if it was really a good overall game or it was just good plays that really meant nothing.
Yeah.
So that's my mentality. Because again, it's so easy to get pumped up on a dude after watching some good music and a whole bunch of clips of him.
Do you think he's a guy to take into next season or trade for, Anthony Walker? Again, we saw him battling Morrison last season for this position. He finally earns the position. They shipped Morrison out to Green Bay.
Yeah, paid off a lot. I don't know, man. I'd be interested in it. It really depends on what I'm willing to give up for it. I don't think I'd be willing to give up a huge draft pick for it, but I think a 5th or a 6th wouldn't be out of the question.
I think you're going to pay more than that.
Yes, yeah, so that's my thing. So maybe
about a 3rd or a 4th.
I don't know if I go 3rd.
Maybe
4th is a stretch. It depends if I'm one linebacker away from being a rotation.
Here's my point. Josie Jewell, a guy that we both loved coming out, has really struggled to get on the field. Anthony Walker has a defined role in the NFL. I would be willing to pay like a 3rd or a 4th where you could have got Josie Jewell last season. If there weren't biased people in our league, that's where he should have fallen.
Not that I was biased. I just
no.
I had more needs.
I was biased. I took him in the first round. Remember, like if I wasn't in your league, like the listeners' league, then he probably would have slipped to the 3rd.
Yeah, Buck would have taken all the linebackers last year. Yeah, a lot of things would have been nicer for the rest of us.
I'm just saying, if you're in an efficient market, that's where.
And I get that because again, I like Josie Jewell too. I didn't honestly think he'd get this much playing time. To be completely fair, so the fact he got this much, I was pretty surprised at. Also, I think if Todd Davis leaves, that might make a role for him.
Todd Davis. Oh, well.
Yeah. Who sucks in coverage. So just throwing that out there.
He's one of the best strong side linebackers, though.
Yeah.
He will blow up a freaking play.
Yeah, he'll blow one up, but he can also, someone speedy on him, and he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the Colts. Lewis gets his 2nd sack of the day. Dazier makes an open wide receiver into a pass breakup. Just straight came up in there and just batted that ball down. That was one of my favorite plays from this game for sure. Leonard with another pass breakup. The blitz gets Dak and he underthrows the ball. Autry with a sack right up the middle. Odom with a pick. Another rookie who making plays gets his first NFL pick. Their next game is going to be versus the Giants, so they're going to be playing another blue team. They will be at home again. I look for the Colts to continue this role. Depending on the health of Barkley, I would assume they're still going to be running it. Depending on the health of Odell Beckham, we're still unsure how that's going to go. So if they don't have their running back and they don't have their quarterback, what are they going to do? Rely on Eli Manning, like the 3rd best quarterback on the team? I don't know what the hell else they're supposed to do. So I would look at the run game. If you can somehow pick up, you can definitely pick up Leonard in the championship. You'd be damn good to do it. But Walker, I don't think would be a bad ad for tomorrow or for a championship game, in my opinion. I think he'll have a good one. For the Cowboys, didn't have a lot of Cowboys because they got shut out because they suck this game. You have Smith going 11 for 11, Heath going 9 for 7, Van Der Esch going 8 for 7. Smith had a damn good game, man. He for having a losing effort, he played really good. There's a play, I don't know if you saw it, but there's a play where they tackled Mack, and basically Smith went low and Vander went high. And they just, whoop, they made the Z pattern out of the running back. And I loved it. That was one of my favorite plays. Mack bulldozes near the goal line and gets in 3 plays later. Woozier over pursues a route. Saw him do that 3 times. I think he was just really wanting to shut down T.Y. Hilton whenever he came over to his side. Smith can't get to Mack, and he scores in the second half. The Cowboys can't get off the field in the second half. They were leaking. They were leaking worse than like a car from the 70s that you're just trying to hold on to, and they're just leaking oil everywhere. They could not. I felt bad watching it because they were just gas, man. Mm-hmm. They had nothing to give, and that's why it's hard to even write notes about this one because there just wasn't much there. Reed stops Mack and does get a forced fumble, but other than that, there was nothing in the second half to really write about positive for the Cowboys. They get shut out on the road. Take 1 step back, 2 step forward, 1 step back for the Cowboys. That's usually how it goes. Their next game is going to be versus the Bucks at home versus the Bucks. So hopefully the Bucks coming in, them running Barber more. Look for Van Der Esch to keep going and keep producing more and more hits.
Did you notice anything about Lee? Was Lee on the field?
I didn't see him at all.
I know he was back and healthy.
I didn't see him.
Okay.
Unless I just missed it. All I saw was Smith and Van Der Esch.
All right, we saw that nod from Jerry Jones about playing Lee. Why should he be making those sort of decisions? I don't know. But
it's Jerry Jones.
He said that he would play Lee over LVE.
Wouldn't make any sense.
What are your thoughts on that, though? Do you think there's validity to that, or do you think Leighton Vander Esch has?
Sure, if we can find a time machine and go back 3 years to when Sean Lee wasn't hurt and he was playing at the top of his game, sure, I'd make that argument.
Why aren't all three out there? You put Jalen Smith on the tight end.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, but I don't think that. Honestly, I think if Sean Lee, I don't think he can play a full season anymore. I'm at the point where I don't know if he can. It's kind of like Jordan Hicks. I don't expect him. I expect Jordan Hicks to get hurt every year. I expect Sean Lee now to miss games every season. And that sucks to say because he is a good linebacker when he's out there and he's producing. But right now, Vander Esch is playing at a higher level than him. As a rookie, he's playing at a higher level. But I think he has a good position on the sideline helping these guys because he's not just being selfish and just being like, I'm not helping them for shit. He's doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
You think Darius Leonard pops on PEDs? We're seeing a Quan-like season out of him, his rookie season.
I don't think so.
Kind of drafted the same position, kind of expected to play the similar role.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Like, I thought he was decent, like a run stopper, but we're seeing him in coverage and everything else. Like, this is a player I didn't expect to be as good. Great opportunity, but I think he's playing a lot better than what we saw whenever we were looking at him.
Like, if we redrafted, like, from our draft last year, in the
with perfect information,
you still had the first 3 picks, like, when you have the information we have now.
I would pick him, yes.
Over, you have the first three picks.
So I have Saquon first, and then I think I took Roquan, and then Edmonds or Leonard. Honestly, I would go. I take that back. I'd go Saquon. I'd go Leonard, and it's really Leighton Vander Esch or what's his name? Not Roquan. My problem with Roquan is because he's stuck right there with Danny Trevathan, who's going to eat in the tackles. We see with Jalen Smith, we saw him in Notre Dame, how he wasn't a high tackle guy. I think he maxed out at 80 in a season. That's completely healthy.
Yeah.
We're kind of seeing the same thing in the NFL, where he's a smart player. He gets in a position and he helps cut off lanes and everything else, but he's not necessarily that high stat guy that you're going to get out of Leighton Vander Esch. Tremaine Edmonds, or Tremaine, what's that? Terrell's his brother. There's 3 Edmonds brothers. But Tremaine, he's in the perfect position to continuously get tackles. We're seeing Matt Milano eat into his tackles, though.
And then he got hurt.
Right.
And then you have Alexander, who has good games and then disappears for like 8 games.
But he's also 34 years old.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
So, again, you didn't answer the question.
It's tough, man.
Decisions are a bitch.
All right. Who did I take to? Leonard?
Leonard, yeah.
I took Leonard, too. Roquan, Tremaine, or LVE. Ugh. I'm partial because I have Jalen Smith, but I think Leighton Vander Esch is the dude.
Nice. So I could have Vander Esch or Roquan with the 4th pick.
Right.
I'd be super excited.
That's a nod to how great this draft was.
Because I could have flipped that around, and then I had the 6th pick, so I could have picked one, and maybe the other one was there, and then take 2 linebackers.
And you could have got Jewel.
Yeah, I still would have taken Nick Chubb, though.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed with my Nick Chubb pick at all.
What'd you do? You went Chubb
I went
and
Bradley Chubb and then Nick Chubb. I went double Chubb.
Bradley Chubb's playing well.
I'm not. I like both of them. So he broke Vaughn's rookie sack record. So there's that. And you're up next, man. We're just bantering in between.
I like when we get off the cuff.
Yeah, me too.
All right, we got the Redskins versus the Jags. For the Redskins, we have Mason Foster going 4-7, Kerrigan going 5-6 with 2 sacks, Clinton Dix going 5-5 with a pass breakup, and John Allen going 4-5 with 2 sacks. Brown gets a sack, Hamilton gets a half sack, Smith gets a half sack. Moreau gets a pick as well. The Redskins' defensive line is going to town on the offensive line of the Jaguars. Payne gets a fumble recovery off a Kerrigan forced fumble. Clinton Dix is whacking the quarterback as he tries to run down the sideline. I love seeing this. I love that swagger that he's playing with. Kind of what we expected from the Jaguars we're seeing in the Redskins this week. Swearinger had a couple tackles that were called back on the stat sheet. This is that game, Paul. I don't remember who the officiating crew is, but it was the same officiating crew that has been a pain in my ass all season. The white Skeletor dude.
I don't think I've had him for weeks now.
He's terrible.
He's terrible. Skeletor.
Norman has what looks like a lot of tackles, but they didn't hit the stat sheet. I don't know. Maybe there's a stat correction coming up on that. Moreau ends up getting a pick off a tip. Yes. And the Redskins are at the Titans next week. I think John Allen is going to eat that offensive line. For the Jaguars, Hayden goes 7-7. Smith goes 7-7. Campbell goes 6-6 with a sack. Jack goes 5-6. Jones gets a sack. DeLuca gets a sack. And there were no interceptions. DeLuca, is he the guy from NDSU? Or is it South Dakota State University?
North Dakota. He's from North Dakota State.
Same as Carson Wentz, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought.
And their head coach is actually going to K-State to coach now.
Dang. He was a guy that we liked in the
I like Nick DeLuca a lot. I liked him a lot.
DeLuca got a strip sack. You could see that he extended his arms for the football whenever he was making the sack on, I believe it was Josh Johnson. So he has him in like a bear hug, and then Josh Johnson has the ball out. And then as he has the ball out, he just like swats the wrist and gets the ball out. You love seeing that. He's playing strong side linebacker, and he looks like a promising starter down the road at the pro level. Again, being that small school guy, being that guy that was often injured, it was one of those things that you're like, hey, I want to see him at the pro level. Kind of like your boy from Wisconsin, Sitchy. Yep. Who's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now and not starting because he's on IR.
Sitchy's my boy, man. Love Sitchy.
Taven Bryan sheds the right tackle to one side to step in and make the tackle. You love seeing this. Again, kind of what we saw with Grady Jarrett. Not as consistent, though. It's what we really expect to see from a first-round draft pick, but we're not seeing it as much as what we want to. He's slowly developing into that guy, and they're going to need him because they've got a lot of mouths that they're going to need to pay. Jared Wilson is getting a bit of playing time. He always seems to be out of position when he goes to tackle, so I wouldn't take much away from him. Again, he's not in the top 4 of the stat sheet, and you're not going to have a lot of confidence starting him next week. Avery Jones had a good game at defensive tackle, and next week they're at the Dolphins. DJ Hayden is putting up numbers in recent weeks. He's a guy that I'm going to be looking for Tannehill to go ahead and test him. We've seen him produce in the past 3 weeks, and this is a guy that I would go out and get if I needed. There's something I wanted to talk about, but I cannot recall. Oh, ratings. So on our podcast, if you go down in the little comments and the info that we give out in them, we're going to attach the link to our iTunes. Please go in. Please leave a review because that helps us get seen by other people. Again, that brings money back to us. If we can get more money brought back to us, then we can continue to fund this website. I know a lot of people have reached out to us that they enjoy the website. It's one of those things, unfortunately, we have to shut down because we are not making a profit out of it. But again, we're trying to sell draft kits and everything else. Websites are expensive, and we'd like to keep that going forward, especially for rankings week to week. That's one of the things that a lot of people liked was the ability to go in and see what our thoughts were. And we list the top 200 each week, and you don't see that from other sites. And a lot of other sites you have to pay for it. Again, it takes time, effort, and everything else. We also publish our rookie previews on there as well, and it allows us to have a space to sell our draft kits. It's kind of sketch whenever you're buying a draft kit from a Google account and our PayPal. It adds professionalism and everything else. That's why the ratings are important, because other people listen to us. Other people can pay that money if you're not interested in buying the draft kit or the premium podcast. So every little bit helps. Again, check that out on our info portion of the podcast.
I'm on that Twitter distraction right now is what I'm on. I gotta send you this account so you can watch it. Alright, my next game was the Rams at the Eagles. Rams at the Eagles? Yeah, Eagles at the Rams. The reason I'm confused is because the home crowd sure as hell sounded like they were rooting for the Eagles. I was confused. But I love Sunday Night Football because I can listen to Chris Collinsworth. And they don't put the condensed form out until like 1:30 a.m. So it's super awesome. Alright, for the Rams, you have Johnson going 14 for 11, 1 pass defense. Littleton 10 for 7. Joyner 6 for 5, 1 tackle forward loss. Barron smacks the running back. Finally see a play from him where he actually tackles. Hill with a great tackle to prevent a run after catch. He just shoots in for a one-on-one. Johnson also shoots the gap to stop an inside handoff. Adam bowls through the D for a touchdown. Sproles is looking like a flashback player in Madden right now. Jeffrey catches a big pass to set up a touchdown. I hear a lot of Eagles fans. I heard that all night. Littleton was catching fire late in the game. I feel like he has done this week after week that I've watched the Rams. The Rams D was looking tired. And where's the future MVP Donald at? I need more. I just need to see more, man. You should have at least gotten a sack. Just at least one. Talib gets a pick. Talib comes back, gets a pick. While the Eagles are driving, just a great play on his part. Johnson with a near pick and gets the Rams back into it. A late fumble, though, and the punt basically kills the Rams. So that basically knocked them out of having a chance to win. Their next game is going to be at the Cardinals. I look for them to just shut them down. I don't know who's going to be the top tackler. It's a who's who of what. But I assume Donald's going to at least get 2 or 3 sacks this game. For the Eagles, you have Douglas going 14 for 11, 1 tackle for loss. Jenkins 12 for 8, 2 tackles for loss. And LeBlanc going 8 for 6, 1 pass defense. Jenkins with a tackle for loss on the first play. It leads to a 3-and-out. Gurley breaks the D-line with a touchdown. And Maddox with the pick. Attaboy. Love Avonte Maddox, man. I'm so glad that he actually got his first pick in this one. Especially against the Rams, playing in L.A. That's just super fun, man. I loved it. I was a big fan of Maddox. Someone in the room was not a big fan of Maddox. But I just like the kid. I think he plays really well. And that's not going to be the only play, people. There's more. Maddox later on does get to see how good of a runner Gurley is, as Gurley just cuts around the outside, and Devontae has to play catch up with him. Goff tripped off the line. He gets up and basically pulls a Derek Carr and tries to fling the ball, and then Graham gets the takeaway. Like, it was an interception of -1 yards on the interception. It was crazy. The Eagles have a shot to take down the Rams, and honestly, the more and more you watch their defense, the more and more they're keeping them in the game. The Eagles hold off the last-minute drive. Basically, the Rams are dumping it to the outside, dumping it to the outside, dumping it to the outside, and they're gaining yards. Dumping it and dumping it and dumping it. The crazy thing about this is later on, the last play of the game, man, 4 seconds left. You got to make a touchdown tie. You got to make a touchdown, extra points tie. Goes for it, man. He throws the ball, but look who it is. Playing smart football. The thing is, it's not really the play was made. A smart football play was made. Because
yes, Maddox.
Yes. And because he didn't make contact. That was the important thing. Like, he was playing great coverage in the end zone, but he rushed up, and as the ball was coming, he put his hands up in the air and just continued forward, not touching him. And that was a great play, because if he would have made any contact, guarantee there would have been a flag. Because the back judge, where he was, he would have just seen a hand go around, he would have thrown a flag. So it was a great pass breakup by not being a foul, and that's good from a rookie, because I honestly, in that instance, if I'm Goff, I'm throwing at him too.
Yeah.
So I would do the exact same thing. And then when he wins, he does the sitting cross-legged samurai.
Oh, yeah.
And then you see Barrett, or what is his name? The dude who used to play for the Seahawks, Bennett. You see Bennett kind of do it in return. It was super funny, man. I loved it. Their next game is going to be versus the Texans. I look for about the same stat line. Douglas is playing so good right now. The only other guy I can see jumping in there is maybe Corey Graham.
Yep, I started him and picked him up in a win-it-all league, and he got me 17 points.
Yeah, Corey Graham's playing really well as well.
I'm really surprised. No, Corey Graham.
Oh, cool.
He's had 3 weeks of 14+.
Yep, he's been playing very well as well.
I believe he's injured. That's why he wasn't playing.
That makes sense. Douglas played well. I really enjoyed watching him. That's all I got.
Especially in that. He's a corner, right, Douglas? Mm-hmm. Yep. So if you're in a cornerback start 1, he's that guy to go get. And we see that a lot with the Rams. All right. I've got the Seahawks versus the 49ers. For the Seahawks, Calitro goes 6 of 8. Wagner goes 6 of 7. Ford goes 3 of 6. Clark goes 5 of 5 with the sack. Reed gets 2 sacks. There were no interceptions. McDougal does go down. He does get a forced fumble, and Flowers got the fumble recovery. McDougal was on a bike. It looked like he was taking oxygen as well. Trying to go back in. I don't remember if he did go back in, though. Reed was a terror on the defensive line this entire game. He was successful on a twist stunt up front. That helped him get that sack. And one guy that I'm sure Paul is really interested in is Poona Ford. He was getting a lot of playing time and made a couple tackles for loss, blowing up that interior offensive line of the San Francisco 49ers.
Poona!
I really haven't seen much from him all season. Have you?
No, have not.
I don't believe he was drafted by the Seahawks, was he?
I think he was undrafted.
Yeah. I want to say that the Vikings had him.
Did they?
Well, they got him as a UFA.
I'll have to look that up. I'm curious now.
Wagner was playing phenomenal football like Wagner always does. Mingo is frequently out of position whenever he goes to tackle. Nothing new here. Tedrick Thompson is a frequent tackler, but it comes up from busted coverage most of the time. He's not necessarily one of those good coverage guys that you expect to see making those tackles. Next week, they're versus the Chiefs. I think that Poona Ford is going to have a great game in Seattle because if you can disrupt the interior offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs, you blow up all that misdirection, and it makes it really hard for them to do all the stunts that they do play to play. Do you think that's a good assessment, Paul?
Yeah, I had a really great tape from Poona Ford.
Right.
He was a dude who really popped for me, especially in I think it was the NFLPA game that I watched.
Yeah.
That he was in.
He was in
played really well.
NFLPA and the Shrine game.
Yeah,
I
he
believe.
played both in the same day.
No, he didn't.
No, they're a day apart last year.
Yeah, they're different days. No. It was the NFLPA and it was the Shrine and it was the Senior Bowl. Yeah. For the 49ers, Buckner goes 7 of 11 with 2 sacks. Lee goes 7 of 10. Warner goes 4 of 9.
Yeah, he was. Huh? Hold on. Sorry. I'm interrupting for no reason.
Nzeka? Never heard of this dude. Ends up getting a sack, no interceptions. Lee is playing sideline to sideline. He isn't bad in coverage versus running backs. I liked seeing what I saw from Lee. I would continue to play him going forward. Again, he was playing in the stead of Malcolm Smith. Malcolm Smith, one of those guys we expected to have a way better season than what he had. We didn't expect Reuben Foster to be out and traded to, or dropped and then picked up by the Redskins either. Mark Nzeko is in quite a bit. He causes a forced fumble. Something to watch going forward. I wouldn't necessarily say let's go pick him up because I think there's a lot to be added on this 49ers defense in the draft. Solomon Thomas, not high on the stat sheet, but continuously contributing, cutting down rushing lanes, causing runners to go back inside. Next week, the 49ers versus the Bears. Again, I'm going to pick up Elijah Lee. I think he's the start there. Paul, you're up. I got one game left.
Me too. I'm on my last one. My last one for me is the Packers at the Bears. I got to scroll back up to get it. Sorry. All right, for the home team, which is the Chicago Turds, Smith went 10 for 7, 1 pass defense. Floyd went 6 for 6, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. The only reason he had his best game is because I traded him this season. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Mack went 6 for 5, 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Mack with a sack, Kendricks taking tackles from him. Lynch was unblocked for a tackle for loss. Floyd with a great tackle on the running back. Packers get a short field after a fake punt. Floyd with a sack. Rodgers is overthrowing balls. Mack with another sack. Bears are getting bailed out by Cobb drops. And also I think Cobb drops is a great fantasy name. Lynch beating Bakhtiari, which that one is the one that shocked me in this game. Out of all the stuff that happened, that surprised me the most. Graham doesn't catch the ball on a deflection interception by Jackson, which was really pissed me off. Floyd with another sack to end a drive. Their next game's with the 49ers. I don't know. Pick your poison on who you want. I don't think Floyd's going to have that kind of game the rest of the year. I think Trevathan will be back with that top 3. For the Packers, you had Lancaster going 7 for 6. Josh Jones going 6 for 5, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass defense. Jackson going 5 for 3. Jair slips and allows a catch and run by Robinson. After that, you didn't really see Robinson at all the rest of the game because Jair pretty much shut him down after that. Jones is everywhere and basically is looking very productive. In the first half, he looked good in the second. Or the first half and second half, he looked good the whole game, I guess I should say. There was only one bad play he made, and he basically plays soft cheese coverage, and gets burnt by Burton on a touchdown. Basically ran a long out route. Howard drops the ball on the Packers recovers. The Packers blitz and leaves Cohen open, and Bryce takes a bad angle on a tackle for a touchdown. Not surprised he's done that shit all year. Jones is everywhere again. I feel like he was the one who played with the most heart out there. Didn't see a lot from Martinez. Was surprised. Lancaster was making tackles just off the D-line from them running the clock out. Their next game is going to be at the Jets. I don't care. I wouldn't pick any of them up.
All right. I've got the Patriots versus the Steelers. For the Patriots, Jason McCourty goes 7 of 9. Jackson goes 6 of 6 with a pass breakup. Guy goes 1 of 6. Jones goes 5 of 5 with a sack. Benoit gets a sack. Harmon gets 2 picks. Looks like the Patriots are overloading one side and rushing the pocket to force a sack. Jason McCourty is giving up so much space and coverage. I noted this a couple times. Playing soft coverage, and that allows him to get a lot of tackles. Harmon is going to tackle AB, and then Gilmore pops the ball out right into Harmon's arms. Easy pick right there. You're not going to get that week to week. J.C. Jackson got a massive pass breakup on Juju Smith-Schuster to prevent a deep bomb. Those of you that were playing with Juju Smith-Schuster, I believe, had 0 points. Single-digit points. Next week, the Patriots are versus the Bills. J.C. Jackson will have a good game. I expect safeties to play really well, with Allen loving to sling it and playing the long ball. Also running for big gainers. For the Steelers, Hayden goes 8 of 12 with 2 pass breakups and an interception. Hilton goes 5 of 7. Davis goes 3 of 6 with a pass breakup. Edmonds goes 2 of 6. Watt ends up getting a sack. The entire defensive back core got roasted whenever they went cover 3, and then they stuck on Josh Gordon. Hogan ran under and around them. Hayden is Brady's first read most of the game. Looks like Hayward got hurt, and he comes out for a series. On the last drive, he gets 3 quarterback hits. Helped me out in fantasy. I needed those hits to help me win one of my leagues. Chicolo is getting a lot of playing time in his absence. Burnett should retire. I think he's way too slow to react, slow to get in a position for a tackle. You're really seeing Edmonds kind of take over this position with Sean Davis playing right next to him. Next week, the Steelers are at the Saints, and I expect Edmonds to have a good game, especially in that safety position, playing down in the box. He's used all over the field, and Breeze loves to distribute the ball. Really, that's all I've got for this week. You got anything, Paul?
No, I just need to figure out what I'm going to do in my fantasy championship matchup versus in my family league. I got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do at running back. Because Aaron Jones is going to be out, so I'm going to have to replace him.
That hurts.
And I don't know Spencer Ware. I don't think he's going to be back, is he?
No.
So,
he's got a toe injury.
I'm going to probably drop both of them. I'm trying to look at right now who I want to pick up. Because I got to drop probably both of them because I want to take anything away from my opponent Gil that I can. I want to take everything I can away.
That's one thing I recommend. Depending on the league, you have to hold them for about 30 minutes. So if you have those extra spots on your bench, go ahead and turn and burn. Make sure you do it adequately so you can go ahead and close off all those options. That's something that I have always done in fantasy. If I see a hole in their roster or something that I think they need to address, go ahead and pick up that position, hold it for 30 minutes, drop it. Clockwork. Just keep doing it, and any available player that they can use, just keep burning all those so then they have to push past the waiver period and they won't be able to get them.
Yeah, because I have, basically right now, I'll just kind of go over it real quick live because it's something I want to talk about. But right now, okay, so I got Aaron Jones, I got Kenyon Drake on my roster, I got Spencer Ware on my roster. Probably drop all 3 of them because honestly I'm kind of over Kenyon Drake. So then I'd have the option to pick up Balaj. I'd have the effort to pick up...
I think Gore's out for season.
Yes. I'd have a chance to pick up Edwards from the Ravens, Jackson from the Chargers, or even D. Williams from the Kansas City.
D. Williams. Yeah. I loved him in Miami, man. He played really well this last game. Made a lot of...
D. Williams was in Miami?
Yep.
What?
Made a lot of creative plays this past game.
See, because that's all I need. Because I think other than that, my wide receivers are pretty good. I'm not worried about them. And if I could flex a third running back, I think I'd be happy with my life. But this is also a 2-week. This is, it's one of those ESPN where we go 16-17. So I'm seeing to see who's going to be playing. I think Balaj is a must pick up just because I think they're going to play him the next 2 weeks to see what they have.
I really hope not. He's the guy I want to buy low.
Well, I'm talking about.
I know. I'm just talking
in general. I got you. And also, I think I may drop Lamar Miller. Is he going to play? I don't know.
There are talks that Foreman's coming back.
Yeah. That may be a done deal on that. Maybe dropping 4 running backs and picking up 4 new ones this week. I just want to win.
I don't know if I drop Noy, though.
All I want to do is just not let my cousin's husband win. Like, he's one of the one people I do not like losing to, besides my cousin Aaron. I don't want to lose to him.
Does he talk trash?
He's like the buck of my family. I don't want to lose to him at all.
He's that good?
No. He's not that good. He thinks he's good. He's not that good. And then my other ESPN league, so I'm actually out on IDP, so it kind of sucks. It'll always be next year. Hopefully I can just get a good draft class. That's all I need is just get lucky on a couple of them. That's all. So hopefully anyone who's in the championship, hopefully you do good. Hopefully our advice has led you to this championship. If it has, please let us know.
Ratings,
we would
please.
love to hear from you. Please. Please. We need to know where we stand for next year. Again, because we're going to keep doing this, man. I love doing this show. I don't care if there's 50 people listening, 500,000 listening, or like 5 people listening. I love doing it.
We're averaging about 200, 250.
I love doing it, man. I'll continue to do it no matter what, because you can't contain all this information. You got to squeeze it out.
And that's how you win championships. You don't give up in the off season. We see a lot of competitors and other people that go dark and quiet after week 16. We don't plan on doing that. If we do that, it's usually Super Bowl period, that week in between.
Yeah, maybe a couple weeks, and that's it.
And most of the time, we're grinding for rookie scouting.
Yeah,
you know,
we're usually working, even though we're not on air. So we're never gone, never forgotten about. So hopefully everyone made championships. So y'all have something to play for. All right, I guess that's it, right? All right. So as always, start building your empire today.